hear me? Can you hear me now? Everything is on. Can you guys hear me now? All right, good. We're good to go. Anyway, I want to thank you, Randy, for making me aware. Uh, of, I didn't make a mistake. I just didn't, when I was writing out the key, I did not put the floor tom-tom in there. So like I said, today we're going to be using the floor tom-tom, the bass drum, the snare drum, the hi-hat with the foot, and the hi-hat with the right hand. And it's really, I think, a pretty easy approach to this, because what we're going to do with the stick control, with the PDF, is we're actually referencing off the stick control book. And I'm interpreting the stick control book. I'm using it as a reference or a guide or combinations or whatever. I'm making right become something, and I'm making L become something. However, what I'm doing, interpreting the stick control book, instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I'm using the first right as 1. Then the next note is an L, which I'm going to use that as 2. And then the next note is an R, which is 3, and then the L is 4. So the first sequence of events, right, left, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So, with that being said, let's just do that. But when I'm doing that, I'm going to be counting a 16th note formation, which is 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. So now we make the R 1 E and then the left will be the right hand on the hi-hat. 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E. And so I take the first line now. I have 1 E and the 2 E and the E and the 4. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. You'll see this come into view now for real if I went to line 3 with that concept. Right, left. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. So far I'm just playing quarter notes, and it is a linear line because it's a straight line of quarter notes, but I'm thinking 16ths. So that's how we're referencing where the right hand goes with the floor tom-tom and the right hand goes on the hi-hat. Now I'm in a 16th note formation. So throughout this exercise, we have the E and now we're going to. The E and is going to be consistent, and it's going to be on a snare drum. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and. So let's just do the 1 E and, leave the die out, 2 E and, again leave the die out, 3 E and, leave the die out, 4 E and, leave the die out. So I have 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. A little faster. Ah. 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Line 3, 2 rights, 2 lefts. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and 1 E and the 2 E and 3 E and. Hold on. These friggin' telemarketing people drive me crazy. Hold on. Oh. Ah. I'm really sorry, guys. I normally disconnect the phone when I'm doing a lesson. Okay, and I forgot to do it then. Anyway, let me put this microphone back on. And while I'm talking, we'll get back to the lesson in a second. Uh, I think this month, I think the 27th or whatever, I'm doing a broadcast in addition to my regular broadcast. There's a new product out there, and I came across it at the Delaware Drum Show. And they're drum pads that are tuned. Really good. They look like they almost sound like temple blocks. So I'm gonna do a live broadcast demonstrating that and talking about the product, and we might have a giveaway. So stay tuned and pay attention to what we're gonna do. All right, we're on line 3. I apologize. I hate this. Line 3 is 1 E and 2 E and left E and 4 E and right E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and hold on, let me see something. Okay. So we have 5 people watching and 2 people in the chat. Oh boy. All right, don't matter. Anyway, let's conclude this. Let's go back to line 1. So far with line 1, we're doing 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Now that leaves the duh. Now, it should have been written with a pickup note, but I didn't do a pickup note because it does get confusing. So we're starting with line 1. Line 1 is going to equal 1 E. Now I'm going to go to the left. Before I make the left to the here, it's the 2. Then the right, the left. We understand that, gentlemen? And line 2 is just the reverse. You're starting with the left. 1 E and a 2. The left, the right, the left, the right, the left, the right, the left. Line 3. Right, right, left, left. Now, it makes for some interesting progressions eventually. It's a fun thing to do, and it takes a lot of concentration. You guys have any questions? Now, what I want to do is do exercises like this, and then come next week, Monday, I'm going to write out a figure, a very simple figure, and we're going to, I hate to use this word, funkatize the figure. We're going to make a pattern out of the figures, a variety of patterns out of the same line. So I think, a really cool way to learn how to read. And what we can do with the reading is, you know, play some funk patterns. Or we're going to play syncopation patterns. You understand it, right, Randy? How about you, Marcio? Do you understand it? Comprehendo. Comprehenda, I guess. So it's really, I like line 5. I like the linear thing. I have quite a few. Line 5. Right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left. Would you like me to break it down a little slower? Do you understand it? You understand it, right, Marcio? Okay. All right. And it's more like, if you understand it to this point, I'm not going to do 1 through 10, but they are nice to do. And that's like me sitting here to practice, and I'm not going to be practicing in front of you. I'm trying to explain. I think you have, 10 different lines or 12 different lines? And if you need for me to go over any of those particular lines, I will. Slower, please. Okay, no problem. All right, let's start with line 1. Let's backtrack to line 1. All right, I get a little excited and I get aggravated when the phone rings and I forget to turn it off because it pisses me off with all these telemarketing phone calls all day long. Anyway, let's go to line 1 of the stick control book again. The sticking sequence is right, left, right, left. It's presented in eighth notes as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, I'm not going to reference off of it that way. I'm going to reference off, the right, but as a quarter note. So if I took the first right, left, that would be quarter notes. I would count it as 1, 2, 3, 4. However, I want to go to a 16th note platform. So I'm counting 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and that's how I'm interpreting it. If I went to line 3 with that interpretation, I'd have 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. That's my interpretation. But notice I'm counting the 16th notes because that's going to complete the exercise when we finish. So I'm making R the floor tom-tom. So if I hit the first line, the first R, it would be 1, E, and the. I come to a left, it's my right hand on the hi-hat. 2, E, and the. 3, E, and the. 4, E, and the. So now the first line, just leaving E and the, counting in blank, all right, I have 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. Okay? So now, throughout the page, the PDFs or this exercise, we have now remaining the E and the. So now we're going to put in the E and. The E and is consistent throughout. So if I did the first one right, the right, which is the floor tom-tom, 1, then I put the E and, I'm leaving the blank. So I have 1 E and the, then 2 E and the, 3 E and the, 4 E and the. Okay. Up tempo a little bit without the duh. 1 E and the, 2 E and the, 3 E and the, 4 E and they led. 1 E and the, 2 E and the, 3 E and the, 4 E and the. We understand that much so far. Now, that leaves the duh of the 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, if 1 is going to be R, that's going to be 1. I'm going to hit my floor tom-tom, the 1. If it's going to be my right hand on the hi-hat and it's on the 2, the 2. So let's eliminate E and for a minute. So we have the right E and the left E and the right E and the left E and the right E and the left E and we fill in the E N. The left E and the right, the left E and the 1 E and the E and the 3 E and 4 E and. Is it a little bit more clear, Randy and Marcia? Is that clear? I really enjoy line 5. Is it clear? Any questions? Good, Randy. Now you have 72 lines, or you can make your own lines. Now, what I'm trying to do is just to explain this linear concept, a couple of different linear concepts, and we're going to start doing some funk patterns. So, I'm going to write some out, and I will check the key again. Okay? Now, that's just today's lesson with the, it's a fun lesson. It's fun with George Lawrence Stone. Now, another exercise, I didn't write this, I have a PDF, I didn't send these out, but it's pertaining to this linear concept. And as you know, linear means a straight line of rhythm, which we're doing. I broke it down so, with different voices. Nice, it's a fun exercise. Now, I always like to reference off the stick control book because it seems that everybody should have the stick control book. So I use the stick control book as a reference and come up with all these different formulas. Now we go to the stick control book again, page 5, line 1. It's presented to you as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to do that exactly how it's written. We're going to interpret it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to refer to some terms here as the top and the bottom. Top meaning your hands, the bottom meaning the pedals. Now, I'm going to be thinking either 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and first, then I could think 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the. So now, let's just stay with first 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And we're going to, all right, hi from California. We started the lesson about a half hour ago, which is all right. This should be recorded, And Steve, did you get the PDFs? I will send this. I didn't send this PDF that I'm going to do right now out. I will though. If you're on my mailing list, Steve, you can get it. If you're not, email me and I'll put you on the mailing list. My email is all right now. Oh, you did? Okay, good. This you didn't get. Anyway, we're looking at the first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I want you to do it slow. We're going to refer to the top with the hands and the bottom with the pedals. So we're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in. I want to lock in the voices. Which my right hand is going to be the ride cymbal, or I can make it the floor tom-tom. But let's just, for safety reasons here, I guess, or for whatever you want to call it, we're going to use the right hand on the ride cymbal. We're locking it in. And the L is going to be the snare drum. And obviously the R would be bass drum, and then the L would be the hi-hat. So when we come to 1 and 3 and, we're going to keep it as the top. I'm going to count 2 and 4 and. I'm not going to play that yet. I'm just going to play the top on 1 and 3 and. For example, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and. Then we have 2 and 4 and. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now this is a different linear concept. So now we have together now the top and the bottom, 1 and 2. It's like 4-way coordination. With that same approach or that same concept, we go to the second line. Remember now, the 1 and 3 and is the top. And the 2 and 4 and is the bottom. So we have, and we're locked in with the voices. I'm restraining you to those voices, but you can move it over around any place you like. But for instructional reasons, this is a way I can communicate the best. So we have line 2, which is 1 and 2. Now line 3 and line 4 don't really work too cool with this. But that's all right. If I did line 3, which would be right, left, that'd be 1 and. Line 4. Okay. Now what inspired me to this was Elliott Fine, Marvin Dahlgreen's 4-way coordination. Well, I've never played heavy metal per se. If that's the same concept, I mean, I guess maybe we're doing a good thing here for metal drummers, I guess, but that's not the object. The object is to develop control and coordination and develop different sounds. I never played heavy metal. I never played a heavy metal gig, to be honest with you. And not that I dislike heavy metal, but, you know, my preferences is to play jazz and fusion and whatever. Absolutely. Now, what I like to do is, let me just do one more line 5. And we're going to remain with the voices that we have. And I'm going to change them around a little bit after I demonstrate it. You have 1 and 2 and. Nice and easy. Do we understand that? Now, what I like to do with line 5 is to take my right hand and put it on the hi-hat. So I have. have fun with it. But anyway, that's, I don't have the PDF on that offhand. I have to rewrite that. A couple months ago, my computer crashed. So what I do now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 computers in the studio now. And if one crashes, I'll have them on the other computer. I also have a backup, and I have an external hard drive. But anyway, I will be back tonight at 7:30 p.m. on my site. That's mattpatellallivelessons.com. All right, and that's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, if anybody wants the PDFs, just email me, mattpatella1001@gmail.com. Okay? And I'll send them to you, put you on my mailing list. Now, I have a show coming up. I have 3 programs, Randy. Years ago, I bought a program called Encore, and they sold it to a company locally in New Jersey called Gvox, and it's back to Encore, and I do all my notation from that particular one. When I want to do rudimental drumming, I use what's that one? Finale, and I have Sibelius. Most of my writing is from Passport or Encore. It's the same thing, or Gvox. It does a good job, I think. I've been using the program for a long time, so I could go in and out of it real quick. The Finale program is for rudimental stuff that I use, and Sibelius is for orchestrational kind of music. I seldom use that. But anyway, if anybody wants to become a member of my site, it's mattpatella.livelessons.com. And the lessons are Monday and Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will be doing an additional show this month. I didn't get a total confirmation on the date. I'm not familiar with that, Steve. Why don't you send me the link? Are we friends on Facebook, Steve? Send me the link. I'll check it out. I don't like to write in tabs or whatever, because I think that's insulting. Okay? I haven't been recording them. I can. That means I'd have to upload them and put them on YouTube. And I don't want to do that. I've been doing that. It's going to be the same lesson as we did tonight. If you can get to it, that would be good. If you're on Facebook, Steve, just send me the link to that writing program, and I'll check it out. Randy, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to record that raw. When I record it, I will try to send it to you email. I don't know if it will open up if I send it to you that way. We'll find out, okay? What I intended to do was, the people want to see some past lessons. I am in the process of populating my site with instructional videos. Now, you're a member of the site, so I mean, you can go just to the site when we're doing a lesson. But they're not being, if I do record them, I'm going to try it. Let me see. All right? I'll try, Randy. All right, anyway, it's time for me to leave. There was 8 people and 3 people in the chat. That's a good sign. Anybody have any questions before I sign off? Randy, you have a good day. Try to make it tonight. Steve, you want to join the site? Join the site. Same thing with you, Marcelo. If not, everyone have a good. Okay, gentlemen and ladies. See everybody tonight.